All right, guys. This is Pitchfork Podcast for January 30th, 2021. If you guys would be so kind, leave a like, leave a share. Make sure you share the content with other people. Let people know that I run this podcast every day for you guys. All right, if you want to follow me on social media platforms, you can follow me on Mr. Devil's Advocate. That's the handle for both DLive and Trovo. Devil's Advocate is my handle on YouTube. Also, you can check me out on FusePainter86 on my Twitch channel. Devil's Advocate is my Twitter handle. Also, you can find me on Facebook under the Devil's Advocate channel. All right. Let's get into the show. With that being said, guys, I run the show every day. Show roughly begins at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I keep the show running for as long as I can keep it running, guys. I do the show every day. I'm a high energy person. I do not have low energy. That will never be me. And you want to know why? I keep that energy high for you, the fans, you, the viewer. I feel that I owe that to you to keep it coming, keep it going. All right, guys, with that being said, we're going to be covering some general news. Also, we're going to be covering some police reform news. Because the reason why I focus so much on police reform, because that is the focus of my channel for the most part. Not just police reform, but also reform with politics, also with judicial reform, prosecutorial reform. I want to reform everything. If you want to participate in the show, you can dial 253-203-6784. Again, that number is 253-203-6784, and you can participate in the show. You could be on the live show with me, Devil's Advocate, a.k.a. Dion McNeil, a.k.a. the best journalist you've never heard of. That being said, guys, you can also join my Discord server to be a part of the show. Join the voice chat. You can join the server, join the voice chat. I will join with you. There we can have a conversation live on air, and it will be just the same as making a phone call. Now, there is some interesting news that's been coming out from all over the world in terms of police reform. Now, with that being said, I want you to understand something, right? I cover these stories out of curiosity, not so much out of malice, but just because I want to see what's underneath the curtain. You know, I always want to see what's behind the curtain. You know, I always want to see what's behind the curtain, and then when I find out, I want to show you, the viewer, because I think that the people who so-called police us, I just don't believe that people should look at police reform and reform with politics, reform with some of the things that we've been putting up with, like the lockdowns, the ridiculous way in which police abuse their power on an everyday basis. I don't think that we should look at that as just some small thing. I think that if we're being honest with ourselves, there's a lot of issues that have befall police and befall politicians. There's been a lot of issues that have been happening across the world where the government and agents of the government, such as police, they abuse people. They abuse people. I just don't appreciate, how some American citizens want me to ignore, certain things that happens in my country. Now, I do understand that there's going to be times in which I say things that are hyperbolic, and I say things that may sound mean, sounds rude, sounds nasty, like the whole ACAB thing. All cops are bad, or all cops are bastards. You want to know the reason why I say that? Let me kind of explain it. I don't say it to just be a dick. I don't say it just to, say that I hate cops and I want cops dead. The the point of me saying this, the point of me saying that is not so much that I can punish all the good cops, right? Not so I can just, you know, punish all the good cops and just be mean to them, you know. The point of it is the police, when you have bad apples around supposed good apples, and the supposed good apples don't say anything about the bad apples, well, that poses a problem. That poses a serious problem, because at that point, at what point do the good apples who ignore the bad apples, at what point do they become bad apples? At what point are they complicit? You know, that's my question. At what point are they complicit in what's happening across the country? At what point do I look at all police officers and say to myself, you're watching this and you say nothing? You say nothing. If a child's being raped, would you just be silent about it? No? Why? It's not just because it's a child being raped. It's because you understand there's a difference between right and wrong. That if someone does something to violate somebody else, then there should be a price to pay for that. That if someone were to harm somebody, there should be a price to pay for that. But all too often, there is never a cost to pay for police officers who just execute citizens. All too often. And that's where my anger is coming from. It's coming from situations where citizens' rights are clearly being violated, and the state soldier, the police officer, is the one doing the violating. And there are those in my country who justify that. And it makes me so fucking angry. You have no idea how angry that makes me. Let me give you an example of the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to show you a video that comes out of Chicago. And, yeah, my boy Pochlo over in the live chat. All right. Let me go check the live chat because I don't want to ignore the live chat. All right, so Pochlo, hey, what up, bro? Pochlo on YouTube says, no such thing as an American citizen, only government citizens. Yeah, the way that they're treating us, it's hard to argue with you, brother. I'm gonna go through a little video like real quick, and if you want to call in, you can. Let me go ahead and go through this video real quick. So this video comes out of Chicago. There was a social worker who had her home raided, and she was butt naked the whole time. The cops didn't even allow her to get dressed. It was a pretty dramatic video. I'm not sure this newscast is gonna show the whole video, but we're gonna try to get this newscast to go ahead and play, because I saw it earlier, and I don't think I want to show that whole video because she was naked. You know, that's kind of humiliating. But let me go back here to the right here. Okay. All right. So this video's right here. This is pretty intense, so just get ready for this one.
more breaking news now. The city of Chicago is getting hauled back to federal court to answer for a pattern of bad police raids, first identified by the CBS 2 investigators. Late this afternoon, the lawyers who won a consent decree against CPD in 2019 filed a motion asking a federal judge to step in and stop what they call the illegal violent raids. The motion cites 2.5 years of our CBS 2 reporting on wrong raids, including our recent investigation on the Anjanette Young raid, where police handcuffed an innocent naked woman. CBS 2 investigator Dave Savini working on the developments right now. We'll have new details coming up tonight at 10 p.m. Catch up on our past reports on Chicago's consent decree in the CBS 2 investigator section of our app. Search CBS Chicago wherever you get your apps.
So, they raided this woman home in the middle of the night. She was butt naked. And they handcuffed her. They didn't even give her a chance to put on some damn clothes, man. I mean, if she's butt naked, she clearly doesn't have clothes where she can just hide things, right? I mean, unless she's gonna pull a freaking machete or a knife out of her hoo-ha. I mean, I just don't see why that was necessary. And they violated this woman. They busted into her home. That's her sanctuary. I mean, that can cause severe PTSD, man. It's perfectly reasonable to be traumatized after that kind of experience, especially if you're naked, it's at nighttime, you're not expecting this. It's just a complete shock. Men with guns just rush your home. Do you know what kind of psychological damage that can do? I'm going to leave a link to this in the live chat, so if you're on certain platforms, you'll get that in the live chat. VK, DLive, Twitch, and YouTube. You should have a link to that in the live chat. That was crazy, but there's more, though. There's more of these raids from Chicago. We're going to look at another one here.
Now to a bad police raid like...
So, another raid where they raided another woman's home, who says jewelry and money went missing. So, when they raided this woman's home, some of her jewelry and money just digivolved. Some of the jewelry and money was rubbed with the sunstone or the leaf stone, the firestone, and the money must have been Eevee because it evolved. It grew legs and it walked away. Now that's very, very interesting. Now it sounds to me like this is what a road pirate would do. Call me crazy, but if you break into someone's home, it's the wrong home, so you had no reason to be there. No justification to even be there. Of an innocent person, that person said things are missing, and we know that you shouldn't have even been in the first place. Well, now I'm questioning, why were you there? Were you there to just say, hey, botch raid, my bad, haha, and then things still go missing? Interesting. You know, they say in Chicago, man, you can get robbed. I just didn't know it was going to be robbed by the damn cops.
Now to a bad police raid like nothing we've uncovered before. Chicago police busting into the home of an innocent woman. But get this, in the suburbs. And hers wasn't the only suburban home targeted by city cops. Here's CBS 2 investigator Dave Savini with this exclusive.
You're saying that they broke this door here. They broke through this door right here? Dolores Garner's home was wrongly raided. So this doesn't close right anymore. Her security doors pried open. Property inside her home torn apart by a team of Chicago police officers. But unlike all of the other botched CPD raids we've been exposing for 2 years, Garner's home isn't in Chicago. She lives in suburban Calumet City.
We now have the Chicago Police Department raiding homes in the suburbs.
Yes.
And again, this was a wrong raid.
A wrong raid.
Wrong house.
Wrong house.
A bad tip from a confidential informant led to Chicago officers getting a warrant allowing them to just go into another city.
Wait, hold on. So, I want you to look here. If you read the complaint, right? Read that complaint and look closely. They're talking about weed. You got a warrant at Chicago PD to go into another city where you don't have jurisdiction, but that city allows you to go search into another city for weed. For weed. I mean, read here. Blank, this is a complaint for a search warrant, right? Blank replies that he has the specific amount requested by J Doe, and for J Doe to come come to the back of the premise. J Doe related that upon the arrival at Blank, J Doe contacts Blank via cell phone, letting Blank know that J Doe has pulled in front of the single family residence. J Doe awaits in front of the single family residence for Blank to come outside. J Doe observes Blank exit the front door of the residence carrying a bag containing the requested amount of cannabis, weed, and walk towards the vehicle J Doe is in. Again, this is about weed. You raided someone's home, their jewelry goes missing, and you raided their home for fucking weed? When this is not even your city? What the? And if you look on the right side, right? Like, look at the paper on the right side behind this front paper here. Even says right there at the very bottom right there, cannabis, like right in the middle, cannabis, like right under the word evidence there, like right under the words in bold, evidence of the offense of cannabis, weed. You are busting in people's doors like fucking stormtroopers over goddamn weed. And it wasn't even the goddamn White House. And people have the nerve and the audacity to sit here and question me as to why I question cops so goddamn much. Shut the fuck up. Seriously. Like, at this point, I don't want to hear it. Look at this shit. This woman, this innocent woman is saying jewelry went missing. The cops have acknowledged that, hey, it was a bad tip. Supposedly a bad tip. But her stuff has gone missing since then. So the cops showed up there, and if what is believed to be true, they took her stuff. Her jewelry. Her money. What the fuck is this?
Looking for a pot dealer.
I had a television that was broken. I had my granddaughter's iPad that was broken. They slit my mattress open and they broke the vanity in one of my bathrooms. I had to have that replaced.
Did they pay you for all this?
Have not gotten a dime.
CBS 2 investigators found...
Hold on, wait, hold on. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Ha! Wait. You mean tell me? I must be lost my damn mind here. I must be goddamn lost here. You mean damn tell me? You break into my shit, slid open my damn couch, tear up my house that I paid for, that if I don't pay property taxes for, you're gonna take anyways. But I pay for that. Not you, I do. You tear up my bathroom, you break my granddaughter's iPad that I pay for. And I pay for that out of pocket. and you haven't even tried to give me some money back? Yeah, see, I love this sister here. I love this beautiful black woman, but see, black people like this are way too kind. Way too kind. That could have been me, because every last one of these motherfuckers be goddamn dead. I'm sorry. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. I'm coming to your house, motherfucker. You pull that shit. Try it on me. No, go ahead. Go right ahead. We gonna find out how gangster you truly are. Because everybody want to be a gangster till the game fucking joins in. You know? Everybody want to be a gangster until you run into a mofo like me. Okay? So, try it. Please. I'm asking you to. I'm asking you to. They busted into this woman's home. Busted into this woman's home. Tear up her shit. And no one's even called her to replace her things. Black folk like this is way too kind. I'm just gonna put it like that. Black folk like this, bless their heart, you're way too kind. See, we need black folk who gonna snap on a fucking, you know, we need black folk like me. You see, I'm real intelligent, but I can get real ignorant. Very quickly. I can go 0 to a goddamn 100 real fucking quick. Real fucking quick. Shit like this? Oh, okay. See, I like bacon. I put it to you just like that. I like fucking bacon. I love it. Tastes great. Tastes fucking great. Now, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with these people. Whereas, you know, you think you can just violate someone like this and they paid their hard-earned money. Mind you, this is not an old video. This is a month ago. This is during the goddamn pandemic. This was not long ago. They bust into this woman's shit. Break her stuff up. Things go missing. No one's fired. She hadn't even been reimbursed yet. Okay. Let it happen to me. Let it happen to me.
Garner's home is among nearly 400 homes outside the city to be raided in 3 years by CPD. Her family joins the growing number of innocent people to have their homes invaded. Who can forget Anjanette Young?
I just feel like if they would do their homework a little more, a lot of this stress and anxiety on families would not take place.
Garner's niece was home alone asleep on a couch when the raid team broke in.
She was in panic mode with guns drawn.
They pointed guns at your niece?
They did.
Garner's been fighting to get police bodies.
Wait. They pointed guns at a girl? An unarmed girl. Sleeping on a fucking couch. Like I said, bro. Like I said. Black folk like this is way too kind. Black folk like this is way too kind. They bust into this woman's home. They break things in her home. They slash open her couch. She is not the only one. She's one. This news agency here, CBS Chicago 2, investigators, they've been covering this for months. She's one of many. Chicago, the Chicago Police Department got a warrant. Mind you, she's not even in Chicago. They got a warrant to go into a different city based on a warrant for a pot dealer, someone selling weed, to go into a different city, and they got the wrong house. They admitted to it. Wrong house. She had to pay for damages. They haven't even reimbursed her yet. They haven't even fucking reimbursed her yet. They have not fucking paid her a dime yet. Do you not agree that when you bust somebody's shit open and you openly admit it's the wrong house, should you not be reimbursed for that? No? No, just fuck her, you know? Just fuck her, you know? Because, pull yourself up by your goddamn bootstraps. Yeah, it's hard to do that when the fucking stormtroopers are busting your shit in. Can we fucking goddamn concede that shit now? Can we concede that? Can we just admit that's a goddamn problem when someone can just bust into your home? And by the way, she's saying that some of her jewelry, because you can see she wears a lot of jewelry, she's saying that some of her jewelry went missing. Black folk like this, way too kind. Let it happen to me. I guarantee you, I'm going to put it to you like this. I love the smell of goddamn bacon. Fuck this. This is straight up goddamn robbery. Straight up, if any other group, if anybody else did this shit, you would call this fucking robbery. You would call it what the fuck it is. How the hell is this any different than any... This is some straight up and down goddamn rogue shit. Let it happen to me. I swear for law. Let it happen to me. Let it happen to me. I'm going to give you a fucking baptism in goddamn lead. A fucking lead baptism. This kind of shit is what the Second Amendment was intended for. I would baptize that ass in fucking lead. Busting my shit. I open carry at all goddamn times. I sleep with my shit under my goddamn pillow. There is only approximately, and I've actually counted, it's only approximately about 20 minutes in a fucking day in which I don't have a gun on me. That's only when I'm damn bathing. The only time. Even when I'm taking a poop, I have my gun right there on the goddamn counter within arm's reach. Try it on me. Seriously. Listen, combat veterans are hyper vigilant. We look for that kind of shit. Oh, we live for that kind of shit. Try it on me. Seriously. No, seriously. If you're a police officer and you hear that shit, come on, try it. I double fucking dare you. I double fucking dare you. This shit is bullshit. How is this any different than fucking robbery? Explain to me how the fuck is this any different than goddamn robbery? If a Crip or a Blood or a fucking cartel or MS-13 or anybody else was fucking doing this shit, you would call it what the fuck it is. But all of a sudden, when you put on the badge, it's suddenly different. Magically different. Magically different. For the political right to talk about, I don't believe in identity politics. If I identify as a goddamn cop, boy, you make a lot of excuses for my fucking ass up. I'm just saying. But people who care so much about getting rid of identity politics, you are sure tied up in goddamn labels. Because once somebody is labeled something, like police officer, suddenly you suck their dick so goddamn hard, boy. I swear, if you suck it any goddamn harder, you might need some damn dentures, because you might suck all your goddamn teeth off. Seriously.
Body cam video of the August 2019 raid and find out what happened to a family heirloom that went missing.
It was a ring that my godmother had given me with 6 rubies and 1 diamond.
She says items from her small fashion jewelry business are missing too.
Jewelry was taken, cash was taken.
You want these cops investigated?
Yes.
COPA, the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, is investigating. Because of that, Garner's request for police video was denied. CPD saying disclosing the responsive records would interfere or obstruct the integrity of the investigation for future administrative and or criminal charging.
Something needs to be done because, it's unfair that the families have to go through this here. Turmoil, fear.
Garner expected more from CPD. She comes from a police family. Her father, who is no longer alive, was a detective who served in the Chicago Police Department for 38 years.
He would be livid, definitely livid.
Describe your feelings overall.
Wow.
Disappointed that nothing has been done or the Chicago police haven't even sent an out sorry.
We've now learned CPD is saying there's no body cam video for her raid. We've also learned that the officer who got the warrant in her case is being sued for another wrong raid, where again, no body cam video exists. Dave Savini, CBS 2 Investigators.
Wait. Go back. Go back. Did you hear that shit? Go back. Ain't no goddamn way. Ain't no goddamn. I know I didn't. Listen, I may have to pause it for a second, take a smoke from my bowl, because I may go goddamn nuclear. You might actually see a black man become a nuclear bomb. I mean, I'm not being literal, right? I'm being hyperbolic, but if I hear that again, I might actually lose it. Did you just hear that about the officer? There was no body cam footage for this so-called raid, and the officer involved, one of the officers involved, is being sued for another wrongful raid, where again there was no body cam. People think that I'm pretty extreme towards cops, and I want you to understand something. I'm really not. I think that I'm the appropriate amount of angry. The appropriate amount of angry. Because see, you don't feel the anger because it's not your house being kicked in. It's not your family being terrorized. It's not your jury going missing. This woman here, her father was a detective with freaking Chicago PD. She don't hate the cops. She would hate her own father. She was violated. Does she seem like a bad woman? Does she seem evil to you? Does she seem that way? I'm going to replay this last part, and I want you to listen to this. Things like this is why I do what I do. Listen to this last part.
Describe your feelings over all this.
Disappointed that nothing has been done or the Chicago police haven't even sent an out sorry.
We've now learned CPD is saying there's no body cam video for her raid. We've also learned that the officer who got the warrant in her case is being sued for another wrong raid, where again, no body cam video exists. Dave Savini, CBS 2 Investigators.
Dave, thank you. In a statement, Chicago police say they can't comment on Garner's raid because of the ongoing Copa investigation. And they are continuing to review their search warrant policy with input from Chicago's Inspector General and the community. The IG launched a full audit of CPD following CBS 2 investigators' years-long investigation into these wrong raids. To see how widespread the issue is, you can go to the CBS Chicago app and watch all of our wrong raid.
Jesus. So there's more of this. Chicago right now is one of the worst in the nation for these raids. It's absolutely insane what happens in Chicago. It's unconscionable what happens there. It's out of this world. If you're on YouTube, Twitch, DLive, or BK, you should have a link to that video in the live chat. But that's why I get so mad, man. That's ridiculous, bro. That's outrageous. You can't treat people like wow. Let's move on here. So back people bring up the looting over the summer, right? The looting and the riots over the summer, and it's very interesting how they bring that up. And I hear you, but some of the attacks on police officers, now that there's a reason why I showed those videos before I'm going to show this one, so that it disarms all the people who are going to say, oh, well, just look at what they're doing to the cops, look what they're doing in the city. Now you see why they're doing this, because they're pissed off. The police keep harassing people, keep, targeting people, and I want you to see something back from June 2020 now. This is something that's kind of interesting. Here's another scandal they're involved in. I want you to see the quality of these police officers so that you understand that after Houston PD, wow, this is going to be my one of my newer bad cop no donuts.
Mayhem in Miami as protesters attack a police car. 2 men smash skateboards into the windshield, and the reaction is swift. Look at the cops! Look at the cops! The scene becomes a street brawl. A cop is struck with another skateboard as they overpower 2 protesters. Get your knee off him! Get your knee off him! The incident happened in Miami earlier this week. The vast majority of protests calling for racial justice in cities across America continue to remain peaceful, like this one here in New York City. But in Chicago, there's uproar after 13 cops were caught on camera allegedly goofing off and lounging while looters were running amok. The police officers were seen on surveillance video hanging loose in the district office of Congressman Bobby Rush. One cop is fast asleep on a sofa. These 2 are also taking a snooze. Cops snacked on the congressman's popcorn. All this took place on June 1st as outside neighborhood stores were getting ransacked by looters. People fled with armfuls of stolen items with no one to stop them. Derek Knoll owns a looted barbershop, and he is expressing outrage today after the photos were made public.
It just was a major letdown. We feel like the ball was dropped at the time that we really needed them.
Authorities say the 13 cops relaxed inside the congressman's office for as long as 5 hours. Chicago's Mayor Lori Lightfoot is furious.
It's really quite mind-boggling, and it's almost impossible to believe that it's true. It's one of the most disgraceful, disrespectful things that I've ever seen.
Cops say they had permission from the congressman's staff to be there. And President Trump is doubling down on his threat to use the military to take back the 6-block zone of Seattle that has been taken over by protesters and renamed Chaz, as in Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone.
We're not going to let Seattle be occupied by anarchists. One way or the other, it's going to get done. These people are not going to occupy a major portion of a great city.
The checkpoint to the zone is now like a frontier post with a series of barriers and a fence. We saw an armed guard toting what appeared to be a 9mm submachine gun. Protesters continue their occupation of the East Precinct. Negotiations to return the station house to Seattle police have stalled, and the assistant chief spoke with Inside Edition.
And obviously what we've got here is we've got a mob. And a mob? We're not a mob. We're not.
So, I know what people are going to say. Ha, look at that. Look at the rise over the summer. There's a reason why I showed that video. See, I'm going to make those people eat their words. Watch this. This is the Seattle Police Department, right? Right? That's who they are, right? I did a video about the Seattle Police Department. Devil's Advocate, Seattle Police Department. Bad cop, no donut. Did a video about this. I'm gonna drop that right there. We're actually gonna watch my video. we're actually going to watch my video. Yep.
Like, comment.
We're going to watch my video because I knows how people just love the bullshit. Now, this video is about the Seattle Police Department, and I want you to understand something. I put a lot of effort into this video. It's very, very good, actually. You should watch it. But as you're going to see here, the Seattle Police Department is horrible, and I can prove it. Bad cop, no donut. We're going to watch this and tell me what you think about it. 17 minutes long, but we're going to stop at some point. We're not going to watch the whole thing. Don't worry.
Share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Enjoy the show.
When we look at the Seattle Police Department, we see more than 50 years of corruption, bad policing, lies, cheating, and stealing. And that has been confirmed over the years from citizens, officers, and even the federal government. It's been painted that the defund the police movement and Black Lives Matter is what caused the massive number of Seattle police leaving the force, when nothing could be further from the truth. Let's have a chat about the Seattle Police Department. Back on June 8th, 2020, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or CHAZ, also known as the Capitol Hill Organized Protest, or CHOP, established a self-declared autonomous zone that was located in the Capitol Hill neighborhood of Seattle, Washington. It covered Carl Anderson Park and 6 other blocks. And it came shortly after the Seattle Police Department abandoned the East Precinct building.
Welcome to CHOP, and for those who live in it, it is now a part of their daily lives. 6 city blocks have now been transformed, now called CHOP, or the Capitol Hill Organized or Occupied Protest.
And now you might be saying that that sounds an awful like it was absolute chaos and anarchy, and it certainly appears unwarranted. However, I am reminded of the words of Dr. Martin Luther King.
A riot is the language of the unheard.
There are people out there claiming that the...
Now, the acting police chief is Adrian Diaz, right? He claimed that the department was losing officers because of the defund the police freedom movement and Black Lives Matter. He claimed that. The problem with that is that Black Lives Matter was not founded until 2013. And something happened before then that will probably explain the reason why officers were leaving. Let's go ahead and skip forward a little bit.
Blue line or Blue Lives Matter folks just blaming Black Lives Matter and the defund the police movement, CHOP or CHAZ or whatever you want to call them, for all the issues that were happening with police, because that would take Governor Jay Inslee and the Seattle City Council off the hook for all the corruption that happened on their watch. So if you can blame non-government actors for problems that the government caused, well, if you're the government, why would you want those non-government actors to not catch the blame for something that is clearly your fault and something that was going on?
Yeah, I'm gonna read off some of this stuff here. So, the U.S. Department of Justice has found that the Seattle Police Department has engaged in direct racial profiling from 2011 and even now. Since 2011, right? So, this headline here from the Seattle Magazine is from 2015, right? So even if you want to blame BLM, you can't blame the defund the police movement like this guy just did, because that was a direct quote from the acting police chief, Adrian Diaz. He said the defund the police movement was part of the reason why officers were leaving. But when you have a legacy of police corruption, well, I would suspect that if there's are good officers out there, why would they want to work for a department that has a legacy of corruption? I wouldn't. Would you? This is from Seattle Magazine. They're in Seattle. You think that they would know something about the local area if they could live there? And plus, there was an actual a federal consent decree that was signed in 2011. By the city of Seattle, the police department, and the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice actually investigated the Seattle Police Department and found that there was bias there. There was violation of the Constitution. They directly said that. But don't worry, we will get to that in the video. I mean, I think that I'm gonna outline that pretty well.
For a long time before those non-government actors a bunch of races. In fact, when you look into the Seattle Police Department, there is corruption and issues from top to bottom. The issue with making this video was condensing all of the issues that the Seattle Police Department currently suffers from and has suffered from for quite some time. Let's take a look at some examples. It is well known that the Seattle Police Department has had serious issues with racism, and that's one of the main reasons why they've been losing minority officers over the...
So, part of the reason why they got placed under a federal consent decree is that there was evidence of racial bias. All right, there was evidence of a lot of racial incidents there, and when you start off as freedom patrols, and the freedom patrols have to actually watch the policemen in Seattle, and that's been going on since the civil rights era, and even before then, there were issues with Native Americans, and not just black people, but also the natives, the First Nations people, or the people who rightfully own this land. You know, there were issues, a lot of issues. And so when you have that kind of legacy, and you have stuff that's carried on into the modern day, where the Department of Justice has to actually step in and literally call you racist, I mean, I'm not sure what you expected. Chaz or Chop, I'm not justifying anything that they did, but they were inevitable. They were inevitable. When your cops behave like criminals, well, then the criminals are going to say, well, you suck as cops, and now you're coming into our field? No, we're the actual criminals, and we can actually be better criminals than what you are. It's just ridiculous. I mean, look at this.
For years. Here, let me give you some examples of that. Now, on the screen before you is a screenshot from the webpage of the ACLU in Washington State. And they have so kindly provided a timeline that outlines a decade of abusive police practices, corruption, flat-out racism, and the federal investigations that confirm that racism. Let's look at some of the Seattle Police Department's greatest hits. This footage that you're seeing of a protest may look recent, but this protest footage is actually from 2010. Now, for our first incident, we have the shooting of John T. Williams, who was a Native American who was shot 4 times by former Seattle police officer Ian Burke, and Williams died at the scene. The shooting was ruled unjustified by the Seattle Police Department's own Firearms Review Board. Now, you might be saying, why was there protests and riots and so many people who were angry over the shooting of John T. Williams? Well, for one, the shooting was unjustified. 2, the man was a Native American, so he was murdered on his people's own land. And 3, he was a wood carver, or basically a carpenter. This...
I don't want to laugh at that, but I made that comparison because they basically killed Native American Jesus. Like, if you actually learn about, you actually read about the things that his brother says about him and what people say about him, man, he's a fucking angel, man. I mean, I kind of laughed at the kind of joke that I was making there, but I was kind of making light of a really, really horrible situation, man. Like, this is horrible. This is awful. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, it almost brought a tear to my damn eye. That shit was terrible. He was a good guy. He didn't deserve that. He wasn't no monster. He wasn't no criminal. He just a wood carver, man. A carpenter. He likes to work with freaking wood, That's a part of Native American culture, man. They've been doing that for generations, man. He was walking home, had a knife and a block of wood on him, like you would expect a wood carver to. He looks obviously native, so you would probably put 2 and 2 together. If you're policing in the area that you're actually a part of. Officer pulls up, shouts at John Williams here to drop the knife. John Williams, being partially deaf, could not hear him. Couldn't hear him. He's an older guy. You'd expect older guys to develop some hearing problems, eye problems, or he just had bad hearing. It wasn't his fault. Officer just guns him down. That's rough, man. Murdered on your own people's land. God, that's cold, man. That's why people were so mad. It's just, when you look at the story of Jesus, man, it's virtually identical. Both were from an oppressed people. Both were unjustly murdered. Both were known and beloved in their communities. Both had religious beliefs that the government historically attempted to force out of their people. Both became a symbol against oppression and the use of government to oppress its people. Both were on record as having empathy for the poor and those addicted to substances. Both came from people labeled as savages by the law enforcement of their day. Sorry, John, man. I'm so sorry, bro, man. That's a rough one, man. You know, if I didn't meet so many good people, I will almost regret my damn service, man. I'm looking at stories like this. It's hard. I have to feel a little angry, you know? He was a little guy. He is recovering from addiction. People knew him. People loved him. Even now, a John T. Williams wood carving, man, that will run you some money. Let me show you how beloved he actually was. An authentic John T. Williams carving. I looked this up one day, and I think it was on sale. Yeah, a large vintage John T. Williams hand carved totem. That'll run you $1,200. He was a great artist. He was a fantastic artist, man. He was. Look at some of the work this man did, man. It was beautiful. That is authentic Native American art. Authentic, like it's beautiful. He hand carved these. People actually, pay money for this. I mean, 3D things cost $12,500. Just amazing. He didn't deserve this. He didn't deserve it. This is one of the situations that caused the Seattle Police Department to be placed under a federal consent decree. That's just awful. What happened to John Williams was a goddamn shame, man. What happened to the people across the country is just a goddamn shame. People shouldn't fear their governments. But we're gonna go get into some news articles here. We're gonna take a little short turn. Okay, so this article is posted on France 24 today on January 30th. There's more protests coming to the security bill. Now, we must stand in solidarity with our French brothers and sisters. We must stand in solidarity with our French brothers and sisters. Because they're being oppressed currently by Macron, who calls himself Jupiter, but he's really just a little bitch. New protests in France against security bill. All right. It's a 3-minute read by Newswires. Fresh protests were held Saturday against a French security bill which critics say will restrict the filming of police and posting images to social media, notably to document cases of police brutality. A broad cross-section of protesters turned out in dozens of French cities, including activists from the anti-government Yellow Vest movement and others calling to protect the cultural sector. I have 2 reasons for coming today: the comprehensive security law and also to support culture, said Kim, a 24-year-old civil service intern. Lots of stores are open and the metro is packed, yet cultural sites are closed even though we can apply protective measures against the coronavirus, she said. Also among the protesters were young people calling for the right to hold rave parties such as one in Brittany that attracted 2,400 at the start of the year. The demonstrators are protesting draft legislation that would ban filming police activities, which the ruling LREM party of President Emmanuel Macron, or President Bitch Jupiter, has said it would rewrite. But people are also protesting the use of surveillance tools such as drones and pedestrian cameras. Footage of white police beating up an unarmed black music producer in Paris in his Paris studio on November 21st has fueled anger over the legislation that was condemned by many as signaling a swing to the right by Macron. That I did not know that even happened. I'm going to open that. That is something that happened in footage of this. Yeah, I want to see that, definitely. Absolutely. According to Interior Ministry figures, 32,077 people turned out to protest across France, significantly down on the 133,000 they said attended the largest protest against the measures back in November, although organizers put the true turnout then at more than 500,000 people. Organizers put the fall in numbers down to the coronavirus restrictions, poor weather, and the fact that this was just the latest in a long series of such protests. France has recorded 75,000 deaths from coronavirus since the outbreak began, and the country is bracing for another possible lockdown. In Paris, a large place de la République, I want to say, was half full. AFP journalists reported, while around 3,000 people had gathered in Montpellier, southern France. At around 5 p.m., an hour before the start of the overnight 6 to 6 curfew, now in place as a measure against the coronavirus, clashes broke out between a group of around 50 youths and police. After being pelted with projectiles, the police used water cannon to clear the square. The Paris prosecutor's office said 26 people had been detained. Hundreds turned out for similar rallies in other cities. The government argues that the proposed law is needed because police officers have become targets of attacks and calls for violence against them on social media. But French media say a new national plan of law enforcement is being used to limit media coverage of demonstrations. The proposed security law, which has already been approved by the National Assembly, is to be examined by the Senate, France's upper parliamentary chamber, in March. So it's pretty much already passed. I mean, they can't just, they can't do anything about it. So again, I want to look at this again. Let's see this video right here.
The latest twist and turn in an incident that sent shockwaves through France. Early on Monday morning, 4 police officers involved in the beating of black music producer Michel Zecler were put under formal investigation. 2 were put behind bars. On Sunday, prosecutors explained the charges they were seeking.
They denied using racist language as reported by the victim and corroborated by one of the youths standing behind the lobby door. They denied that the minutes of their first statements were false. They thought that the premises was an access hall open to the public rather than a private lobby. However, they did end up by admitting the blows were unjustified and that they had acted out of fear once inside the lobby.
One of the officers is accused of throwing a tear gas grenade into Zecler's music studio. The CCTV recording of the assault has been widely shared on social media, adding fuel to the fire over the contentious national security law working its way through the French Parliament, which would restrict filming of police officers if the intention is to harm the individual officer. On Saturday, tens of thousands demonstrated against the bill and police brutality. Protests that ended in clashes, leaving 98 officers injured, according to the Interior Ministry. The number of wounded demonstrators is unknown.
Wow. That is insane. They just beat that man. That is awful. That's awful. I'll give you a link to that. I'll give you a link to that. Maybe you can have it. If you are on YouTube, Twitch, DLive, or VK, you should have a link to that in the live chat. If not, it's going to be on France 24. That is insane to me. Let's move on here. Another one from Chicago PD. It's from January 30th, 2024. I mean, 2021. And there's a video here. I want to see this video. Let's see. Let's maximize this.
Hey, Trey.
Let's let that play a little bit. Let that advertisement play. But I'm gonna read the title here. Chicago Heights police officer charged with beating handcuffed minor. Wow. Handcuffed minor. Wow, that sounds necessary.
Charged with official misconduct. Hey, Tracy, you can't say no to it.
So we're going to just pause it again. But yeah, so apparently a Chicago PD officer was beating a handcuffed minor. I'm sure that's necessary.
Chicago Heights police officers charged with official misconduct and aggravated battery. State police arrested Officer Ali Farah yesterday for allegedly injuring a handcuffed juvenile in 2019. In a statement as well, the mayor of Chicago Heights says the action taken by the Cook County State's attorney demonstrates that, quote, our system of justice works. No one is above the law.
Mm.
Wow. Game time means crunch time, but you got to bring the chips. Yeah? Come on.
Wow, that's... A Chicago Heights police officer faces felony battery charges after being accused of beating a handcuffed minor in the South Suburb. Illinois State Police began investigating Officer Ali Farah in September 2019 after Farah allegedly battered and caused injury to a handcuffed juvenile arrestee, State Police said. Chicago Heights Mayor David Gonzalez said the police department stripped Farah of his police powers and asked state police to investigate him after one of the minors' parents notified the city of the incident. Farah, 42, was charged Friday with official misconduct and aggravated battery causing great bodily harm, state police said. He was released the same day on a $100,000 recognizance bond. Today's action by the Cook County State's Attorney demonstrates that our system of justice works, Gonzalez said. No one is above the law. Farah has worked with the Chicago Heights Police Department since 2009, according to the Better Government Association Public Salaries Database. Chicago Heights Police Chief Thomas Rogers said the department learned of a credible allegation against one of our officers on September 16, 2019, and immediately contacted the Illinois State Police Public Integrity Unit so they could also launch their own investigation. He referred further questions to Illinois State Police, which did not immediately respond to requests for further details. That is interesting. I want to give you all a link to that too. If you're on YouTube, Twitch, DLive, or VK, you should have a link to that in your live chat. I can't guarantee the other platforms. All right, so I also want to look into this. Let's close this out. So this one here is coming from January 13th, 2021. It's a little bit older, but this is very important. It's going to affect the state of Illinois. Police reform bill passes Illinois General Assembly, heads to Pritzker's desk for signature. House Bill 3653 would end cash bail, expand police
Game time
use.
means crunch time. But you got to bring
Hold on.
the chips. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of advertisers, just play without me even allowing that. So, House Bill 3653 would end cash bail, expand police use of force training, maintain police misconduct records. So, once again, this is just a small step to more reform. I like that they wanted to maintain police misconduct records, mean have the records follow that officer and have the records be available publicly. And use of force training, yeah, that is always a good thing. Now, I don't know why every state isn't expanding it. Personally, but that's just me. So we're gonna play this in a second. Let's see what we got.
Pritzker says he is in favor of a criminal justice reform bill passed today by the Illinois General Assembly. The bill would end cash bail and eventually require every police officer in the state to wear body cameras. It would also create a more robust system for decertifying officers who engage in misconduct. A coalition of law enforcement groups claiming that the bill could make communities less safe.
What does that even mean?
Hey Tracy, you can't say no to a classic
What does that
girl.
even mean? It would end safety. How would that harm safety, right? How would it harm safety by requiring all officers to have body cams? Does that make any fucking sense to you? How is it unsafe to have officers all have body cams? How the hell is that unsafe? I mean, unless the camera's gonna like malfunction and like shock the officer in the chest or shock him in the balls or some crazy shit like that, I just don't understand how that's gonna make anything unsafe. I'm just maybe I just don't see it. Maybe I've missed the bigger picture, right? Maybe I'm the one that actually lost it. Maybe I don't know. Pretty sure someone's gonna clip that. But I'm at a loss. How is that going to harm officer safety, right? How does it hurt officer safety by asking you to wear a body cam? Make that make sense. Make that make sense to me. Because I can't make sense of it. I really just can't make sense of it. I'm having a hard time understanding that. You know, I want you to understand something. Right? When I say these things, when I express my opinion about these things, there's a reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm not just trying to be edgy or just trying to be mean or just trying to be nasty to the nice old policeman. You know, that mean old devil, he's being so mean to the policeman. That's not the purpose of me saying what I'm saying. I'm not just trying to be a douchebag to him. Right? I totally get if you think that I am. I would get if you don't like the way that I say things sometimes, that it might come across as mean, uncaring, rude, just generally nasty. And I understand that that might have turned some people away. And for that, for the people who might be offended by things I'll say, I truly am sorry. But that doesn't mean I'm going to change. I cannot, in good faith, watch people be abused and say nothing. I cannot and will not watch what we just watched and say nothing. No. No. And if that's what you want me to do, I got news for you. It's not happening. I don't want to see people abusing my fellow Americans and treating them like they don't matter. I don't want to see police officers abusing their power, going out of their way to abuse their power. And for regular citizens to just sit by and just watch it and say nothing because they think that it mostly affects those damn darkies. I don't want that to happen. I would prefer, right, if we were all just honest about things. And we all didn't just make excuses for things. One thing that I'm known for, right, is be honest. Even when it's not convenient. Even when being honest is probably going to get me some trouble. I've paid a price for that. You know, I can only speak to you from experience and tell you that I've paid a price for that. Honesty is not always the thing that you're going to go for if you don't want to end up being targeted for certain things. I don't know how I'm going to explain that to my son, but I'll try to find a way, I guess. I think we're going to end the podcast early today. We're going to wrap it up early today. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I want you guys to be safe, wear a mask, don't get COVID. Horns up, peace out. Love you all. Peace out.